I'm on a fishing mission in my micro camper van, driving from my home in Valencia to northern France for a wedding. I had loads of fun on the first day, making my way up to Catalonia and achieving one of my fishing dreams by fishing on Spain's famous River Ebro, catching black bass and sea bass on the lower reaches with my friend Neil. But I still have 3 major goals for the trip: to catch a carp from the River Ebro, a 20-pound carp from anywhere, and a Wells catfish. With just over a day left before I needed to leave the river and head north to the Pyrenees and then the French border, my focus was clear. It was time to target an Ebro carp.
So day 2 of the trip and day 2 on the Ebro. I'm down now on the stretch which is near to where I slept last night. It's an absolutely stunning place, amazing spot. Unfortunately, I can't fish on the spot that I really wanted to try today, which is where a small tributary flows into the main river, because when I got down there this morning, it was absolutely rammed full of anglers. Every single peg was taken. So I've come further up to the top end of the stretch upstream, and I've managed to find a nice deep slack with loads of marginal weed, which looks a really good spot. And I saw a very nice carp right in the margin earlier this morning as well. I've been flicking bread in, hoping I could get them taken on the surface. I really wanted to stalk one, but nothing's come of that. So I've decided to go for classic carp tactics. I've stuck on a leg clip and I've gone for a snowman rig, so half a normal boilie and half a pop-up, and I've just flicked it down in the margin on the edge of the weed and chucked a few freebies around it. When I was younger and living in the UK, I did loads of carp fishing like this. It was my go-to, and I had loads of fun, but it's been a few years since I've done this kind of fishing. And to be honest, I'm quite excited to do it. I'm looking forward to chilling here for an hour or two, just sitting back, watching the water, and hopefully getting a run. But I have only got a couple of hours. I'm only going to give it until midday because I do need to get on the road again, and I'm going to be following the Ebro later this afternoon inland towards Zaragoza, and I've got a spot in mind along there if this one doesn't work out. But let's hope it does.
I sat back and enjoyed watching the water for an hour before I got a little bit distracted by a kingfisher which was flying to and fro in front of me. I always love seeing kingfishers when I'm fishing because they remind me of my grandpa, who always used to get very excited by them on the rare occasions that they'd fly past us when we were fishing on our local River Trent. But in terms of the carp, the spot seemed pretty quiet, so I decided to move on. Looking on Google Maps, I found what looked like a small backwater behind an island, and I really wanted to get through to this spot, but there was no clear path and it was going to be a bit of a challenge. I had to push my way through some thick reeds, getting pretty badly scratched up by brambles, and then I had to scramble down a dodgy looking rock face. But looking at the spot on Google Maps, I was sure that this kind of area would hold carp. And I was right. I found some pretty serious carp, easily over 20 pound, and they were feeding on whatever natural food was caught up in the thick weed. But this was a seriously gnarly spot, almost like a Florida swamp, and fishing it proved to be really tricky.
One thing that's making it really difficult is this constant, it flows in and then it flows out. And it's making it really hard to keep your eye on the bait, because every time it flows in or out, the bait gets covered by all this kind of surface slime. And it's really hard to keep your eye on which piece of bait is yours. Another issue is, over to the right hand side, the weed is so thick that I can see the carp trying to get to the bread, but they can't get through it. The weed's just too knotted and thick, so I'm trying over on this left hand side where it's a bit lighter. I've seen 1 or 2 moving around. Ideally I want to get them right on the edge of this weed. That'd be perfect, but as I say, it's very difficult to get the bait in the right place and keep it there. I've been watching the baits over to my right hand side near the big tree stump, and then I just turned to my left slightly and I just saw a carp come up and nick a piece of bread that I'd put in on this left hand side earlier. So I've switched over. Oh, and now they're back on the right hand side again. This is the issue. Do I switch it back and go for that one on the right hand side? I think it's a much bigger fish.
After trying for an hour or so, the fish just seemed to disappear in the midday heat, so I reluctantly packed up. I was regretting not finding the spot earlier in the day, and I'd have been pretty confident of catching if I'd have found it at first or last light. Still, this is a huge river and there'd be other spots to try later on. So I popped into the local public swimming pool and grabbed a quick shower before jumping back in the van.
Freshened up, tidied up, off we go. Time to head inland up the Ebro. Bigger and better spots to come.
Almost as soon as I crossed into the province of Aragon, the landscape changed completely. It was super hot, super dry and really remote. I think I drove for about an hour and a half and barely saw another car. And as I pulled up, I saw that the Ebro itself also looked very different to what I'd seen so far.
This is the Ebro that I've seen on TV and on videos. Big, massive, wide river, brown water, which is obviously because it's so dry and sandy around here and all of the sediment in the river. It looks hugely daunting, but I can pitch up right next to the river, hopefully fish into the evening. So I've got a chance. It's far too hot for fishing right now, it's absolutely roasting. So I'm gonna take a little walk along the stretch, do a little recce. But this is the Ebro, man. Let's see if we can get a fish out of here.
I managed to find a spot where I could park right next to the river and basically fish out the back of the van. I'd had a real stroke of luck too, as I'd actually met an Ebro catfishing guide named Chris, who was setting up just downstream and camping out waiting for his clients to come in the morning. Here I was in the Ebro carp and catfishing heartland. And after chatting to Chris, I decided to give up on the stalking and fish as close as I could to the typical Ebro carp style. So I tied on a lead core leader with a 3-ounce lead in the leg clip, and at Chris's advice, I opted for a 20mm halibut pellet instead of a boilie, and put together the best that I could in terms of a feed mix, mixing together a bag of ground bait that I managed to pick up in Valencia, a few tins of corn, and a couple of handfuls of crushed up boilie, and then I set to work balling it out into the spot. I cast out as far as I could with my trusty little 6-foot Nash Dwarf stalking rod, landing the rig just on the edge of the slack, and then I propped it up high on the bite alarm to minimise the drag from the current. Then I made myself some burgers and enjoyed them thoroughly, and sat back to watch the evening slowly drifting over the Ebro Valley. The settings were perfect, and all I needed now was for the rod to rip off.
I went one. Oh my god, it's ripped off. Mucha suerte, ¿eh? Va a quedar aquí contigo. Sí. Gracias a ti. Wow, that one absolutely ripped.
¿Una carpa?
Yo creo que sí, pero no sé.
Sí, un cirulo sería de otra manera.
Oh my god, I was just trying to chat to this guy in Spanish there, and the rod absolutely flew off. And I'm into something. Let's see what it is. ¿Carpa, sí?
Sí, sí, sí.
Yeah. Eso es mi primero pez en el Ebro.
¿Tu primero carpa?
En el Ebro, en este...
¿En el Ebro?
Sí, en este río.
Qué guapa, macho.
No, no es mi primero capo, pero...
Madre mía, qué bonita.
Sí.
Madre mía, por lo menos que tiene 3-4 kilos, ¿eh?
Come on, in you go. Oh, no, 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 no. He's not done. Come on.
Ah, pues peles, ¿eh?
Esto es demasiado pequeño. Ah, bit of chaos there.
No te entra ni en la sacadera.
Sí, es demasiado pequeño eso. Sí, yo tengo...
Tu primera carpa, tu primer carpa.
Mi primera capa en este río, sí, sí. Ah.
Corre. Nada, güey.
Yes. In keeping with the fashion of this trip, it's an absolutely chaotic catch. I was trying to chat to this guy in Spanish, and lovely guy, but now he wants me to give him the carp to take home for tea. Woo! I got Chris here helping me out. What a legend. What do you reckon, Chris? Maybe £9, maybe 10?
Yeah, it's around, I know in kilo, it's 4 kilo, but 9 pounds, something like this.
Yeah, I'd say 9, maybe.
¿Eres rumano?
Maybe close to.
Ah, como tienes
Close to
matrícula
a
de
double.
Rumanía.
It absolutely ripped off. The bite was so quick, so cool. First Ebro carp, and that is objective achieved. Thanks a lot to Chris. Chris, jump in, say hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Here's my man Chris. Thanks for the help, bro.
Very nice, very nice.
Let's get him back.
He's gone.
Yeah. Oh. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for helping with the camera too.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh man, I'm so pleased, you know?
I have to say, meeting Chris was a pleasure. Not only did he help me out with catching my first Ebro carp, he also went and fetched a few celebratory beers, and we passed the evening chatting and watching over the rod.
Thanks.
His guiding company's named Peter's Angling Paradise, and I couldn't recommend a nicer guy if you're looking for an Ebro guide. Unfortunately, there were no more bites in the evening, and once it got dark I had to wind in, as night fishing in Spain is actually illegal unless you've got special permission. So I made the bed up, brushed my teeth, and got my head down for the night.
I had a really good sleep last night. I'm just sitting here now drinking a coffee and washing the rods, feeling super content this morning. It's really cool. Might make myself another coffee in a minute, and then I'll have some breakfast, and then I'll think about slowly packing up and getting back on the road. But when it's nice and cool in the morning and you're just chilling, just washing the rod, it's hard to leave.
Yep, that's all right. Yep, that's a fish. That is a fish. We're in. We're in. Oh, I was just thinking about packing up. Doesn't feel very big at all. Doesn't feel very big at all. It's very small. It's a tiny, tiny little carp. But it's welcome nonetheless. Okay.
Well, it's not breaking any records, this one. But that's the second Ebro carp. One for the morning, great way to finish it off. I've got to get moving now. I was just about to pack up actually, and then the rod beeped. But I'm pleased with that. It's a classic, tiny little Ebro common, pure white, as they all are. This one's got to be aware of the catfish, I think. I'm really pleased to catch it though.
That you go, little common. Stay out the way of those catfish. Go on. Nice.
Before I left, I had a quick go with the lures under the weir to see if I could nick a catfish, but by 10 AM it was already crazy hot. I had a great time in this spot and I'd have loved to stay a little bit longer, but it was time to get back on the road again. And to be honest, although I'd loved the fishing, I was quite looking forward to getting out of the heat of the Aragon region. So as I made my way about 2 hours up the motorway and the foothills of the Pyrenees started popping up in front of me, I was filled with excitement for what was to come next. But in the blink of an eye, or should I say the flash of an engine light, everything went wrong.
It was all going so well, but I've broken down just as I was coming into the mountains. It's happened before with the van, so I'm just trying to wait for 10 to 15 minutes, hope that it comes back online, and then 20 minutes ahead there's a garage. So that's my plan is for that to. My plan is for the car to have a rest, I guess, and then make it to this garage. But everything was going so well.
today has gone about as badly as it possibly could have done. The engine light came on and the engine went weak, and it's not the first time that it's happened before. And I stopped for a while and then get back in the car and it's okay again, but then some point later on it happens again. You never know how far you're going to get with it. So I've come to this small town in the mountains. I am where I planned to be today. I got here nice and early, about 2 o'clock, and it's now 7:30, and I've spent the whole afternoon flying between garages trying to get someone to have a look at it. And it seems I've landed in the world's busiest town for mechanics, because everyone is just so busy and they can't look at it. So I'm gutted. I'm pretty gutted. I managed to get myself into a campsite tonight for some much needed rest, a proper shower, wash my clothes a little bit, and it's a stunning place, it's an amazing place, but I feel like I just can't enjoy it because I don't know if this is the end of the trip. I'm not sure what to do. I'm going in to see a mechanic at 9 AM tomorrow, and I'm hoping that there's something that he can do. If not, I've got a decision to make about whether I just go for it, or whether I think it's too risky and have to get home. But yeah, it was going so well, but yeah, it's been a bad day today. The next morning, unsurprisingly, the mechanic didn't want to help. But I was feeling a little bit less defeated after a good sleep, and I spent the day working from the campsite and chatting to some of my friends who know a little bit more about cars than me. After topping up with petrol, the engine was running smoothly again and the light had gone off. So listening to the advice of my friends and a good deal of help from ChatGPT, I very anxiously set off again in the hope that keeping the petrol topped up would solve the problem. And to my huge relief, it did. I managed to make it through the Pyrenees and then through a never-ending tunnel and finally into France. It was a stunning drive through the mountains and then through loads of quaint little French villages, but I hated absolutely every second of it due to my anxiety about the van. Nevertheless, while things were going well, I decided to just keep plugging on and go as far as I could. And finally, running out of podcast material to keep me going, I decided to pull into a service station somewhere deep into France at about 1:30 AM for some much needed rest.
So that's the end of the Spanish leg of the trip. It was full of real ups and downs, it was pure chaos at times. But despite all of the issues with the van, I've managed to make it into France. It's now 1:30 AM, I'm dying to get my head down, and hopefully I can get the drive-in finished tomorrow. All I'll say is, good luck getting any Spanish mechanic to do anything urgently in the summer months. It's just an absolutely impossible task. So the problem with the van wasn't fixed, but I've managed to get back on the road, and touch wood many times, hopefully I can get the journey finished tomorrow. But anyway, we've made it now pretty deep into France. 3 more hours to go in the morning to get to the final destination of the Vendée region, which is in northwest France. That's where I'm going to be setting up base for a few days, meeting up with my friends, and there's going to be loads more fishing to come. So for the Spanish leg of the journey, it was mission accomplished. I managed to achieve a bit of a dream by fishing on the Ebro, and I caught a couple of carp off it as well. But I still haven't achieved all of the missions for this trip. I still need to catch a 20-pound carp, hopefully from a river, hopefully stalked, and I also need to catch a cat as well. There's plenty more fishing still to come in France, so stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Well, that did not take long.
It's a good fish. It's a very good fish. Oh, it's a really good fish.